Welcome to another episode of Journey to the Rise. We continue our conversation with Donovan Bankhead, president and owner of Ernie Williamson Music. In this segment, we get into how supporting a local music store truly ends up benefiting you. Having music in your life, you become a part of a fun and supportive and very special community. So let's not delay our last segment any longer with this incredible man. Please welcome back Donovan Bankhead. And what about a child, like a parent who has a child that thinks like maybe they could benefit from playing an instrument, or they have a child interested, they're expressing an interest in playing? What advice do you have for them?
So depending on the age, if they're old enough to be a part of the school band or orchestra, definitely get involved in that. I mean, you've got like other kids doing the same thing. Those music educators are literally some of the best educators in the building, and they will have a relationship with your child that lasts for years. It's one of the only teachers that is stays with a student for years. And some of the best students are in band and orchestra, so it's also just a good peer network to be surrounded by. So definitely do that. If they're younger than that, if they're too young for school band or orchestra, my go-tos, I really like the ukulele for someone who's interested in a string type instrument. So if you got a kid who's like 7 or 8 years old, 9, 10 years old maybe, and they think they want to play the guitar, starting with ukulele first is so much better because it's easier to hold, the string tension's lower, it's more comfortable, it's simpler, and those skills you learn on that can apply over to the guitar. But the barrier to entry, it's kind of like starting on the recorder. Like, it's just so much easier to begin playing music on because you can play one finger chords on the ukulele. You just can't do that on the guitar. And so we can make music faster on the uke, and the things that we learn from there can apply over to the guitar down the road. Piano is also a good choice if they are interested in that. But I think if you start them on piano, really with any musical instrument, you got to be ready for this, but especially on piano, you better be ready to do the dishes so that they'll practice, because the piano has a long upside and it's super rewarding, and it's probably one of the best instruments any musician can play in addition to another instrument, because it gives you just such a thorough understanding of music. Every musician I know either plays piano or wishes they could play piano at a reasonably high level. Um, but it requires diligence and perseverance, and that can be tough. So as a parent, you got to be willing to say like, hey, like, here's the deal. You're either going to do the dishes and not do piano, or I will do the dishes for you on the days that you practice. Like, you're going to have to, be the bad guy sometimes, but you have to not be the bad guy in a way that's ever negative, if that
Right.
makes any sense. You got
Mm-hmm.
to be like the good cop encouraging them, never make it a punishment,
Yeah.
and also, and I bet no one listening to your podcast would ever do this, but this is the thing infuriates me, is when parents are frustrated with their kid because of their poor academic performance or poor attitudes or poor whatever, and the only thing the kid likes is music. So what they want to do to punish the kid is to take away music.
Mm.
Absolutely don't do that.
Mm-mm.
You are setting yourselves up for failure at that point. Like,
Yeah.
instead, try to reach them through music. Let them do more music if they do the things you want them to do,
Mm-hmm.
but never take music away. That just makes zero sense. That's like withholding food or water. Like, why
Right.
would you do that?
Yeah.
So, uh, taking away music would be like taking away positivity from their life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, don't do any of that. Oh, you're not getting good grades. Well, I'm going to remove you from this group of supportive, caring, smart, loving people until you can do better. Like,
Right.
what makes you think that would work? Like, that won't work.
Right.
you know, no, if someone's struggling, put them in that group, put them
Yes.
in music, put them
Mm-hmm.
with a support network. Don't
Yep.
pull them from one.
Yeah.
Jesus, like, we see that all the time. Well-meaning parents, but they're frankly just dumb. So
Right.
anyway,
Yep.
not all parents are dumb.
No.
These parents
Right.
in this analogy are dumb.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yes. And I agree. Piano was hard. Like the piano was my instrument of choice, and that was where I did well for 3 years, and then all of a sudden I didn't want to practice, and it was probably a 2 or 3 year struggle where my mom's had to go back and forth with me. And I don't know what hit in year 6, but it would be 11 o'clock at night, and she'd come into the living room and she's like, "You've got to stop practicing. I'm trying to sleep." Like, she couldn't get me off
Yeah.
the piano. And I just, anywhere I would see a piano, I would just sit down and start playing, because all of a sudden that transition hit and I couldn't get enough of it. And thank God for Mrs. Barta at my
Yeah.
high school. I had a study hall my seventh hour of school my senior year, and she let me go into the choir room, and I'd spend the last hour of my day at school playing. Like, I just, so be patient. If you're out there as a parent, be patient with that child, and please encourage them
Yep.
to practice. They will get there, I
That's right.
promise. So when
Yeah.
someone's
They
trying to
will. They
buy
will
it,
thank you for it for sure.
they absolutely will thank you for it later. Yes. Now, when someone's trying to buy an instrument, like, what is the difference? Because I heard this a lot, and I'm sure you do as well. When I worked in a music store, like, "Oh, well, why should I buy from a reputable shop? I can just get it online." Oh, it made me want to just scratch my eyeballs out. Like, it was so frustrating for me. So, what's the benefit to buying from a reputable shop like yours?
Sure. So let's talk about a couple things. So before I answer the question you asked, let me actually kind of sort of work against my own best interest here. Um, I think it can be okay to buy online, but I think you need to be more selective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I personally would not want to buy a musical instrument from the same place that I might purchase paper and office supplies and electronics from. Some big, internet superstore that maybe started off originally selling books and now sells like everything. I don't want to name any names, but like I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Some nameless thing like that, I think I would not do. If I was going to buy an instrument online, buying from a quality company, as much as I hate to say it, someone like a company like Sweetwater is, you're going to get a good instrument and it's probably going to be set up and play well and all that kind of stuff. So I think that they do a good job with that. And that's a competitor. So uh, now, why should you buy from a quality local music store? Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I think you can get some hands-on education, which can be really useful. So, assuming you're going to a good music store where the staff there is trained, knows the different products, they can help you select an instrument that actually is meaningful to you and that is the right instrument for you. Whereas you don't know enough yet to probably select an appropriate instrument, and you're just going off of random internet advice or whatever. But I think the most important part is I think you can get a good musical instrument from either source. I think it's possible, maybe through your own kind of research and study and stuff like that, to get an appropriately branded and sized instrument and all that kind of stuff from either source. Um, but what you're missing out on when you buy something from just off the internet is you're missing out on the community. And musicians are nothing but a community. That's what the whole thing is about. And if you're not supporting your local music store, if you're not supporting your local music scene, you are not a part of the community. You're not part of the musical community. And when do you need to be part of the musical community? At every part of your journey. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
when you need it. Like
Yeah.
when you're first starting out, you just need that support and encouragement. You need the people who know more than you do to help you get the right thing for you. And then when you're learning to play or your child's learning to play, you need the people around you that can be encouraging, that can say like, yep, I know that feeling too. I also wanted to quit my instrument at one point and I'm glad I didn't. And here's why. You need that encouragement. You need that person that when you're having a difficulty with like, trying to either accomplish some technical thing on your instrument or to solve out something musically, someone who can like show you that and guide you through there. You need someone that like when you're starting to get accomplished that, hey, I've got a few songs in my belt. Like, what do I do? You want to be part of a community where they can say, you should go play at this open mic, or you could do this thing at the library, or we have a group that rehearses here that you could join, or the community band, or whatever. But you need to be plugged in and engaged with this thing. And you're not going to get that by buying musical instruments online. You're not even going to get that really from even buying it off like Facebook Marketplace or something. Like,
Mm-mm.
support your local music store and be a part of the community, and they will support you as well. And
Mm-hmm.
frankly, if you've got a local music store that's still around today, they're probably a pretty good store because through the pandemic, that kind of got rid of, and between the internet and the pandemic and Amazon and Sweetwater and all those places, they've pretty much gotten rid of all of the people, this businesses that weren't very good. All those have kind of closed. So if someone's still standing today, and if they've got a healthy, thriving business and a local music store or one that's near your area, that's probably a good business and is worth your support. Here's something else to think about. So pretty much every single music store would fall under the government's guidelines of what a small business is. And small businesses make up about 18% of the revenues that come into our cities and towns. A small business is only about 18% of the money that's brought in, but they make up 40% of the jobs.
Wow.
So that's another important thing that you're support by when you support your local music store, you're supporting your local community,
Mm-hmm.
your local economy, the musicians and the economy, but also just your economy in general. Like yours, all that money is going to support that. And also, you'll probably find, I know it's this way at Ernie Williamson Music, probably this way at nearly every store, that they'll have that your local music store will have the same products and the same pricing as the internet places. Oftentimes cheaper
Right.
than online because the online have to factor in shipping and stuff like that. So there's every advantage to doing it, and almost no disadvantage. I would say like online is perfect for you if you're homebound and can't leave your home, or if you just live in a super remote area where there's no local music store. Like, okay, perfect. Like, then I would recommend Sweetwater, you know, for you for that. But if you can get into a local music shop and start becoming a part of the music culture, that is better for you and for your community than sending your money out of state.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that community is
that's my
incredibly
soapbox.
important. I like the soapbox. And you're right, the community makes a world of difference. Like I remember parents coming in and being like, "They finally got the song." Like they wanted to share it with someone so bad that their child that they had to listen to play the song over and over and over again finally got it. And they had no one to
Yep,
share it with. It. I remember they busted the door. They'd be so excited to have that group of people who only understood their struggle.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
Pardon the interruption. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation with Donovan. We'll be back in just a minute. Are you looking to capture life's most precious moments in stunning detail? Whether it's a milestone event, a family portrait, or a special celebration, Girl Boss Photography is here to help you tell your unique story through the lens of a camera. At Girl Boss Photography, we specialize in portrait photography, which includes high school seniors, engagement sessions, families, mom and me sessions, headshots, and personal branding. I am there to capture those fleeting moments. My goal is simple: to provide you with timeless images that you'll cherish for years to come. With a passion for creativity and a keen eye for detail, we bring years of professional experience to make you feel comfortable and confident in front of the camera. And because we love our community, we're offering a special deal just for podcast listeners. Book a session with us today and get 50% off your session fee when you mention this podcast. Be seen in photos, whether it's for an engagement or couple session, family photos, high school seniors getting in their photos, or just a fun shoot with friends. We'd love to capture your moments. Head to www.girlbossphotography.com. You can send a DM on Facebook at girlbossphotography615 or head over to Instagram at girl.boss.photography to get more info and to book your personalized session. And we're back. I love getting this insight from Donovan. Often when we go into a store or a small business, we don't typically get to connect or even talk to the owner. This has been a really fun conversation, so let's get back to it with Donovan Bankhead. Or the musician who I remember a student came in and she rode the city bus, and it was one of those like double buses that had the bendy thing. So like when it turned, it had the like I don't know what you call that accordion looking thing. Well, she had sent her
Hmm.
viola down in there, not thinking about how that would crunch it. And she came in just sobbing. She's like, "What did I do?" And we're like, "We can fix it." She's like,
Oh,
"Are you sure?" We're like, "We can fix it." And she came back, X amount of time
yeah.
later. And the mom was like, "Do I kill her?" They're like, "No, we took care of it." And it looked, it looked great. And had its little dings, and we're like, it now has character. But she, she had this safe space where she could go and be like, I'm an idiot. It's like, well, yes, but we can take care of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say support your local business for that stuff because, like I said, they need it, and don't just go there. I was talking to I will sometimes see people post online where they'll say things like, I buy my strings and stuff from my local music store. Like, man, you should buy like if your instruments and stuff there too. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, if they don't have the stuff you want, I understand that, and then that's fair. But like, no music shop is going to survive selling guitar strings only. Like,
Right.
they need to sell the instruments. You need to take lessons. Like, and if you want that repair shop to be there, which we pretty much all do, we all want to have repair. You got to support the activities around it. So,
Hmm.
and it's no more expensive to do that than it is to shop online, and you're actually becoming a meaningful part of the community. So, yeah, yeah,
And having an instrument from a store like yours, it is set up because a lot of people don't realize that an instrument comes in, especially a string instrument. It needs that little tweaking. It needs it set up so it can
yep,
play correctly, whether it's a guitar, a violin, a bass, a cello,
yep,
whatever. And it makes a world of, especially a beginner student, it makes a world of difference to have that instrument set up by professionals who can then educate you and help you and support you. It makes a world of difference, and it makes
yep,
the
yeah.
experience more fun.
Yeah, without if music's to be done, it should be done with a quality instrument, and it's hard enough to learn to play that to fight against a subpar instrument makes
Hmm.
no sense. Um, I absolutely would not. I wouldn't if as an amateur or someone new to music, I would not buy one off the big largest online retailer. Because even though you might look at it and go, well, it's got good reviews. Those reviews are not real.
Right.
Like, and they're by people like you who don't know what they're talking about reviewing it. Like, anyone who
Hmm.
actually knows that this is garbage. Like, it's just in my opinion, it's
Right.
garbage,
Yes.
and it's not a quality instrument. And so, spend the money to make it right. I wouldn't buy one off Facebook Marketplace or whatever used thing. And it's not because I'm opposed to use, it's just that as most people just don't know what they're looking for,
Right.
and they don't know what makes for a good instrument. And so, and you'll find it's really not that much cheaper. I think music's worth making an investment. And if you got to spend a little bit more to get a quality instrument that's set up and plays right, and to get service and after the sales support, I think it's worth it to have that to have your success in it. This is important enough that it's worth making that little bit of extra
Right.
investment.
Yeah.
It's not like you're saving a ton by doing any one of those things. Like,
Hmm.
buying used, you'll save a little bit, and your local music store will have used gear too. But
Yeah.
their used gear, they've likely gone through, cleaned up, set up, restrung, made sure it's ready to go, fixed whatever is wrong with it, and made sure that you're going to have a trouble-free, positive experience learning it. And it
Hmm.
might be $30 more than one you found off Facebook Marketplace, but at
Right.
least this one's set up and ready to go and
Yeah.
plays and isn't a pile of junk because your local music store turned away those pile. We get people every day that try to sell us their stuff, and we look
Hmm.
through it, and some of them are like, no, this guitar is warped, this neck is warped, like, this isn't worth fixing, this needs to be thrown away. And nope, they just put it on Facebook Marketplace and sell it cheap, and then someone brings in that crappy guitar that we turned down. Nah, anyway,
Right.
I'm ranting now.
No, I get it because they buy it on Facebook Marketplace and then they have to come in and now they're paying to have it repaired if it can be repaired to, into the
Yep,
repair tech shop. And so instead, if you just go to the reputable space in the very beginning, and if you can't
yep,
afford such and such instrument, there's rentals. Start at a rental.
yep, yep. And don't get me wrong, we're happy to do repair, and we'll never judge anyone. If someone brings in a used instrument, we're never like, "Where'd you get this?" Like, that's oh, no. Hey man, we want to get
Right.
you playing. Like, we
Yeah.
we support the activity. It's just a pet peeve, and I understand where it comes from. Like, you're trying to save some money, and you think you're doing the right thing, but we just see it so many times where it's like you're just throwing good money after bad, and like, had you
Yeah.
just there's that old adage of buy right, cry once.
Yes.
Spend
Yeah.
the money you need to spend to get the right thing up front. It's the cheapest way to do it in the long run. Whereas when you don't know what you're looking for and you're just trying to buy used or buy cheap, you're just buying junk. And so much times, like, And when people buy like musical instruments off of the big discount website places, um, like you're getting unrepairable junk. And and when if it needs work, it doesn't. There's nothing to fix on it. You just throw it away and grab another one.
Yep.
For the for years, this was so much fun. I don't know if you remember those Esteban guitars that were sold off the Home Shopping channel.
Mm-hmm.
It was a late night infomercial,
Yep.
and they'd have this guy playing a guitar, and he would talk about how wonderful his guitar was and stuff. It was great salesmanship, but those guitars were shit. They were horrible guitars,
Yeah.
and people would want to trade them in, and we used to initially say no because they're horrible, but then finally we're like, well, let's let people trade them in because we want to get them off the streets, and so we'd give them some nominal amount of money on trade in, and so we'd have like $10 or $20 in this junky guitar. And all we would save them, and when our students would do like their rock school performances or whatever, for their final song, we'd give them this guitar so at the end they could take it and destroy it. And that's
Yeah.
what we used them for. We wouldn't sell them or do anything else. We'd hang on to them, and then they get the rock star moment and the Pete Townsend moments and swinging around and destroying them on stage. And that's what those Esteban guitars were used for.
That's excellent.
Oh, that was their best use right there,
Right. Definitely. Truly,
in my
truly.
opinion.
Right. Agreed. Now, when someone comes into one of your stores, like maybe they're new to music, like what can they expect? Whether they're, just like to get fitted for a new instrument, or like what's the experience like at your store?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to find like very friendly, helpful service. You're going to find staff that's like eager to help you wherever you're at on your journey. You're not going to find like, it's not going to be like going to a big box store or a fast food restaurant where, the employees are like unengaged or they're too cool for themselves. You're not going to find where the employees are more interested in their own musical journey than they are yours. You're not going to see any of that. Like they're going to be We hire people pleasers. They're going to be people that are like excited and interested on where you're at on your musical journey. And that doesn't matter if you're just getting started and you're in the research phase of trying to figure out what instrument you want to play, or if you're a professional musician playing worldwide tours and just stopping in because you need new gear or repair or something. So wherever you're at on the journey, they're going to be excited and supportive of you. At our locations, you're going to find like a big selection of inventory, but staff that can help narrow that down to what's suitable for you. You'll find like really a no pressure sales environment. We're not going to sit there and try to push you into anything. Like we're just going to be very supportive, encouraging. You'll find everything we have in our store will be set up and ready to be played, ready to be bought. You're going to find expert advice. You're going to find a network of people that are very encouraging and supportive, that are glad to see you come in and to be there. And you're going to find generally policies and procedures and things that make becoming a musician easy. And you will probably get us the recommendation if you're starting out about taking lessons. But it's because we know that if you take lessons, you're more likely to stick with it, and we want to see you stick with it. So if you're getting lessons elsewhere, that's fine. We obviously love to teach in our stores, but we just want to make sure that you're getting that because you need it. But you're going to find like a supportive and encouraging relationship and a store that's well stocked, that's clean, that's modern, well organized, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a positive experience, and it's one that we recognize that like you went through the trouble. I always say like if someone's going to go through the trouble of put pants on and drive across town to come to the store, like we got to make it worth their while,
Yeah.
and we're going to work hard to make it worth your while. And based on our customer reviews and customer feedback, I think we do a good job of that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a testament to our people in the stores, like our managers and retail workers in the stores. I think we do a good job of hiring the right people, but they do a good job of delivering a great experience for people that want to come into the store.
Yeah, when they come in and they want their instrument and they are encouraged to get lessons, a music stand, new books. And I guess because I work in the industry, I know that, yes, in a way that's upselling, but it's really preparing the student for success. How do you help someone recognize the importance of these items?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the one area as a business that we struggle in, is that I think because we hire such people pleasers, so many times they're just so excited when they make the sale of like the instrument that they don't really think through, like, yeah, but what are all the things that you need to actually be successful with this? And yeah, as a retailer, you want to increase your items per sale and sell more items, of course. But it's more important than that is like, I really don't care about that one transaction. I care about the lifetime value of that customer. I care about the lifetime relationship with this customer. And then what I don't want is someone getting something and they don't have the stuff they need to make it successful from day one. And so even when we have people that, so like this time of year, for example, we get a lot of families that are buying first musical instrument from us and they're signing up for lessons because we run a promotion during the holidays where we'll give you an instrument for free. We'll give you a ukulele for free or a guitar for free if you will sign up for lessons. Because again, it's not because we make more money that way. We don't, because we know that if we can get you in lessons, we probably have you as a musician for life. And then
Yeah.
over time, you will spend more money that way
Right.
over years and years and years. But what we don't want is someone who got a guitar for Christmas one year and it sits in their closet and they never play.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you're taking lessons, we will tell you, like, you need to buy a book because I had this experience. My mom got me an electric guitar for Christmas with an amp and a cable and picks, but no book. And so Christmas morning, I get this thing and I plug it in and I have no idea what to do. I don't know how to tune it. I don't know what to play. I don't have anything. And so after a couple of minutes of making just noise on it, I put it away and it basically sat there until a friend of hers was at the house one day and was like, "Oh, you have a guitar? I can show you how to play something." Um, so starting with a fun book that just shows them the basics of how to begin is important as well. But those things are important. So for me, like if we think guitar, for example, like I think if we, first of all, acoustic or electric guitar, I would say what music is your kid listening to? They listen to a lot of stuff that has acoustic guitar, go that direction. They listen to stuff that has more electrics, go that direction. A lot of people think that you start with the acoustic and then with the electric. That's not true. You can start with either one, doesn't matter. So the electric is easier to play. Some people will have this horribly misguided thought of like, well, then if the acoustic's harder, they should start with the acoustic because then it's easier if they. That's stupid. Don't
Right.
do that. That's like saying like, well, if you want to be a runner, you should put hiking boots on because then when you put running shoes, it'll be easier. Shut up. Like if you think that way, you need to like stop thinking. I guess like you. That's just such stupid thinking. It
Right.
just annoys me every time I hear it. No, make everything as easy as possible, okay? So if they want to
Mm-hmm.
play the electric and the electric's easier to play, start with the electric, okay? But if they're gonna do that, they need an electric guitar, they need picks, they need a cable, they need a good sounding amp because the amp is gonna amplify the sound of the electric. That's at a minimum. Probably should also have like a gig bag so that when they're transporting it or storing it, they have a reasonably safe way. The guitar will not be damaged that way. They need a book, some kind of book, so they have a way to begin that kind of shows them the strings, how to tune it, begin their first notes, first songs, all that kind of stuff. I love having a guitar stand because having a guitar stand allows me to keep the guitar out. And I can tell you as a musician, and I'm sitting up in my music area right now, if you look around, you will see musical instruments outside their cases everywhere so that I can just grab it and play for a few minutes. I don't have to get it out of the case and do all the stuff. I can just get it and play, which is super important. And then you need a tuner, um, and maybe like beyond that, like that's probably the core of what you need. There might be some other stuff, but if you get those things and you get the right gear up front, they've got the things they need to be successful. Now, yeah, I make money on all that stuff when you buy it, of course. Like we do make
Right.
money that way, but that's not why I'm recommending all that stuff. It's not because I want to make more money I don't want to make, it's not like because I want to make the extra $3 when you buy the tuner. Like it's not that. It's because if the instrument's not in tune, it's going to sound like shit. And if it's going to sound
Mm-hmm.
like shit, no one's going to want to play it or hear it. And so it needs to be in tune. So, those are making the investment into getting the right stuff is far more important. And it's why you should do it. It's not just because the business makes a little more money that way.
Right. And you have to recognize that your instrument is out of tune because when you're first playing, you don't know. You can't hear it. Like
You don't.
as you gain
Yep.
experience, you can play. Like my piano's horribly out of tune. So when I sit down, I'm like, oh, I don't even want to hit this, note because I know it's going to be out of tune. But when I first sat down in front of a piano, I would have no idea. And so and those things will last for years. Your tuner will last a long time. Your music stand will last forever, and unless something
Yep.
happens. So it's not like, oh, I have to buy another music stand in 6 months. No, you're good. You're golden. It's just preparing you for success from step one.
Yep. get all the right stuff, get all the kit that you need in the beginning, and it's going to make this endeavor easier, more enjoyable. When you don't have the right stuff, you're now having to improvise and try to figure other stuff out, and it makes this thing that's already challenging even harder. Let's make this as easy as possible. Let's don't make it hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard enough already.
Exactly. And those who are interested in
Yeah.
music, maybe just to be a band kid and someone who, or maybe it's someone with aspirations to go to Nashville, New York, LA, Atlanta, they're dreaming of having a career in music. What advice would you have for them?
Oh man. I saw that question that you were going to ask it. I don't. I guess here's my advice for that, and I don't know that I'm the best person to answer it. So I would say take it with a grain of salt, because I saw that and kind of got dismayed by it and went another route into business, which I don't regret, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I'm happier now, I think, than had I gone into performing for a living, because now I get to do business for a living, and then I perform for the love of it. But I don't, and if I don't want to do a gig, I can just turn it down because it makes no difference to me. Uh, it doesn't. I'm not trying to feed my family by playing this gig. Uh, but if I did want to be a performer, and I would probably really consider, rather than spending money on like college and stuff like that, although that might be necessary depending on what you're doing. You might need to go learn like the theory and all that kind of stuff. But man, I think if one instead like found a way to kind of almost apprentice themselves to someone, that would be a tremendous way. And you might have to go to college first to get your skills up to the point where you could apprentice with someone. But like if you're to go to a town like Nashville, for example, and you find like you want to do studio playing, and you find like who is doing the studio playing, going and taking lessons with the people doing the studio playing, so they could hear your playing, and then offering to just like help them with anything they need, could be a great way to break into the scene. So in the studio network, that's how a lot of folks get into it, is some exposure. People that are already playing, you're new to town, they hear that you're a good player, they see that you're a nice person, that you're a good person to work with and to be with, and then if they need a sub for something, they start pulling you in for subs. But today's world, I think there's a lot of folks that are using TikTok and YouTube and social media to get their music out there. It's not just like how it used to be, where your only way to success was through a major record label. Um, and so, yeah, I think there's other people that could probably answer that question better than I could. But I definitely think the relationships and the network is a critical part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the trajectory that you went on just shows like there's so much more to find your way as a success in music than just gigging all the time.
Yep. Yep, yep. I don't have any regrets for how my musical life turned out. I really, really don't. I mean, when I was young, my dream was to go on the road with Maynard Ferguson and, play trumpet for him for $400 a week. But I just never felt like I was probably good enough to do that. And I knew people that did it. And, looking back on it now, like I wouldn't trade places. I have, a very successful multi-million dollar business. I've got great family and friends. I was trying to not say fans. I was trying to mix those two words together, family and friends. But I get to play a lot. I get to travel. I get to present at different conferences and stuff. I get to give back to my community in ways that are very meaningful, important to both me and to my community. I get to do all these things through pursuing, business and the route I went, and I play a lot, but I
Yeah.
play a lot because I want to, not because I have to.
Hmm.
And man, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more fun. And working in a music store, I mean, yeah, it's work, but it's a lot of fun. You're on music all day.
It is. Yeah. I always say it's better than selling life insurance or caskets.
Yeah.
We're selling stuff that people can't wait to use,
Right.
whereas those other folks are selling stuff that everyone's like, I'm not looking forward to having to use that casket or that life insurance. So, uh,
And if there's someone who, to me, it doesn't matter your age, if you want to start to learn to play an instrument, whether you're 25, 48, 72, if you want to start playing, like, do you have any recommendations for someone who maybe wants to start playing but doesn't know where to start?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, just go to your local music store and tell them what you're interested in. You can begin at any level. I think it can be easier to learn when you're younger. You've got a little more dexterity. Your mind's kind of open to learning things. It can be easier, but that doesn't matter. Like you said, like, I mean, you think about some of the musicians that we may revere, Bob Dylan, for example. Bob Dylan's not a great guitar player. He's not a great singer,
No.
but that dude sold a ton of albums. Like, and many people love his music. So you don't have to be a tremendous musician for any of this stuff. It's more about what it does for you internally and inside. So if there's an instrument you've always wanted to learn to play, like go into your music store, like have them show you one and like you start to learn. And if you let me disabuse you if you have this, if you're listening to this and you're one of those people that has this notion that music is like a talent or you have to have a special ear for it or whatever, that's entirely bullshit. If you can have a conversation and your voice has modulation to it, so when you speak to someone, if you speak to someone how you and I are speaking today, where our voice kind of goes up and down a little bit, there's times it might get a little quieter, there's times it might get a little louder, there's times it does this kind of stuff. You have everything it takes to be a musician. God's honest truth. That's all it takes. The people who will struggle to be a musician, if you are the kind of person that speaks like this all the time and a monotone. You don't think of no, there's no you don't hear any of that. Yes, you'll probably struggle. Doesn't mean it's not worth doing. You might still enjoy doing it, but you'll probably struggle. But don't think that like there's some people that think like, well, the only instrument I can play is the radio. I don't have a voice. I can't sing. No, you just haven't been trained. You just haven't
Mm-hmm.
been trained. That's all. Like
Right.
there's no such there's no such thing as a gift or talent. Now I do think there's some people that may have a proclivity where they learn it faster, they pick it up faster. But man, if you can carry on a conversation with someone and your voice has highs and lows and ups and downs, you've got it. If you can
Yeah.
speak a language and communicate effectively, you can play music without a doubt.
Yeah. And there's in every single industry, there will be someone who can pick it up faster, who can do better. It doesn't matter if you're running, it doesn't matter if you're a swimmer, it doesn't matter if you're climbing trees. Like it doesn't there will always be someone who's like, "Oh, they
You
have a
could be an
natural."
accountant.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you could be an accountant, you could be an artist, you could be anything. There's going to be some, you could be a baker. There's always someone who picks up faster than you. That doesn't mean you can't bake. It
Yes.
just meant this other person, just like the way they tried it first worked out for them.
Right.
So what?
Yeah.
Stick
Mhm.
after it, doesn't matter.
Yeah. You'll totally get there. And you offer quite a bit online. If someone is not in your area, how can you help them with their music experience online?
Yeah, erniewilliamson.com. We sell products every single day, ship products every single day, everything you see on the website. And the website is a constant work in progress. We've been pouring a lot of time, energy, and money into that over the last year to make it better and better and better. So, if you go to it now, you'll see like, oh, this is missing this picture description. But a month from now, you'll see even more stuff finished. And there's thousands of products up there, which is what kind of makes it take a while for us to catch up to everything down
Yeah.
there. But yeah, we've got that. There's some blog posts that are up about that stuff. We've got YouTube channels for Ernie Williamson Music, also YouTube channels for Fret Spot, which is the specialty bass business, and then Fret Spot or YouTube channels for Trumpet Thoughts, which is the niche trumpet business. But all of those also offer content as well that are review videos of products. The Trumpet Thoughts thing, I even get into like the technique of playing the trumpet, and it's more than just reviews and sales, but like also like the things I'm thinking about in terms of trumpet embouchure and stuff. But all those resources available for folks. And yeah, if you don't have a quality local music store, we're thrilled to service. Or if your local music store doesn't have the products you're looking for, then we're happy to do that.
That's
And we are
awesome.
one of the largest Taylor dealers in the world, one of the largest Fender dealers in the world. So a lot of those major products, we do a lot of business with those folks.
That's incredible. Any instrument, I'm guessing, that is out there can get through your company. And if there's someone who wants to know more about you or get an instrument or sign up for lessons, like how can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook. I think it's Donovan.Bankhead at Facebook. Go figure. There's not a lot of Donovan Bankheads out there. I think my headphones are dying. But also, yeah, Donovan at erniewilliamson.com. DONOVAN. It's my email, and that's a good way to get a hold of me as well.
Awesome. I'll get all that and the link to Ernie Williamson music up in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been incredible.
This has been a lot of fun. Two and a
Yeah.
half hours is how long this is. So you feel free to cut any of the stuff that you need to
This
and
will
pare it down.
definitely
But it's
be
been
like,
a lot of
yeah.
fun.
This will be like a 2-3 part interview. So that'll be more promotion for your business, which will be great because you have such an incredible company
This is
and I love the spirit.
I appreciate it. I hope people find it useful and helpful, and happy to help out any way I can.
Yeah.
And always really good to reconnect and see you again, Lucretia. I'm glad you're doing well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's always so good to keep up with you. It's been fun to watch you with all your endeavors over the years. It's been great. Donovan has an incredible and very pure heart. I could have easily talked to him for several more hours. I am thankful he kindly joined us and was very generous with his time. I do hope you'll check him out on the social media. And if you know anyone who is looking to get into music or needs supplies, please check out his store. The links are in the show notes. On our next episode, we talk with an amazing photographer who grew her business in a small rural town in Mississippi. She currently resides in Memphis, Tennessee, and again had to grow her business to once again an incredible success.
Photography was 2016, 2017. I was still nursing, but 2016, I had a really depressive episode while I was travel nursing in Texas. And I grabbed my camera and I started taking pictures of flowers because as a kid, I would often take pictures of flowers or the sky or nature. I didn't realize at the time that that's what I was doing. I just knew in 2016 that's what I was comfortable was when I was taking pictures of flowers. So it did not plan to be a business. So 2016 was when I picked my camera up for the first time in a very long time.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. As we close for today, please remember to be kind to you. When you're kind to yourself, it's easy to be kind to others.